Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin Moore. I am the founder of Project Divergent, and for this episode of the Stay Golden podcast, I am going to be interviewing Joyce Bender and Scott Hammerstrom of Bender Consulting Services. Enjoy! My first question for this interview is I wanted everyone to kind of introduce themselves, but since there's just two of us, we have Joyce and Scott. I know Joyce is the CEO of the Bender Consulting Services. She runs various services to help people with disabilities in the workforce. But I don't recall remembering what Scott does. What do you do, Mr. Hammerstrom?
Well, thank you, Caitlin. I am the manager of programs and partnerships for Bender Leadership Academy, and just moved to that role middle of last year. So, and I also coordinate Disability Mentoring Day. And I know you, I think, spoke at there, I believe.
Yeah, you helped me kind of get situated into that and prepared for that, which that was an amazing event. It was very well prepared. Thank you for inviting me.
And I should mention, Caitlin, the Bender Leadership Academy that you attended became a national organization 2 years ago. So
Really?
now the Bender Leadership Academy is a for-profit, national for-profit, but I still teach the classes for Beaver, Pittsburgh, Fox Chapel, and Delaware. But I just wanted you to know there's something you must do. You must go to the benderleadershipacademy.org. And how does she do that? The stigma?
Yeah, and just to clarify, Bender Leadership Academy is a nonprofit organization. So we're not for profit. So we switched from Bender Consulting. And on our website, Caitlin, if you go to Bender Leadership Academy, or even Google the slaughter stigma pledge, it comes up on our website, and there's a little thing to take a pledge by slaughtering stigma.
That is amazing news. I did not know you guys went national. That's amazing. And I really hope that everyone checks that out, because that's a great organization.
Yes. Now, Bender Consulting Services is still in business. This is just a new not-for-profit. Bender Consulting is a for-profit. However, Karen Slaughter, I don't know if you remember me talking about her, is my friend who's a best-selling author. When you go to benderleadershipacademy.org, you can see her talking about her commitment to me, but then make sure you go and take the pledge, the Slaughter Stigma Pledge.
Absolutely. I will definitely link that website as well, because I do remember seeing a little bit of the Slaughter Pledge flying around, but I didn't actually know what it was until now. So I will definitely link that. That's very important.
Yeah, Slaughter Stigma is stigma toward young people with disabilities.
That's great. That's great. So I have a question for Scott. What made you want to start working for Bender Consulting Services?
Oh, great question. So I started in 2008 or 2007 at Bender Consulting, and I prior to that I worked at a few nonprofit organizations, and even though I knew Bender Consulting was for profit, but I know they had a social mission in helping people with disabilities, and I worked at two organizations that are focused on disabilities prior to Bender Consulting, and I knew that would be a great fit for me. And I haven't left since.
Yeah, it's a really good company to work for, I bet. I would love to work there someday, but as of right now, I'm still stuck in school, so I have to focus on that before I get to do anything fun. I have a question for Joyce as well. I don't want to leave you out. On your website, you kind of touch on what made you want to start working as a disability rights activist, but there's a really important story that you told me and the various Bender leadership members that I'd like for you to tell if you're comfortable telling it. What made you start working in disability rights activism?
Okay. Well, I did not know I had epilepsy, and I would have these fainting spells that were misdiagnosed by my doctor. And in 1985, I went to the movie theater to see a film, and it was the only movie I've ever been to that had an intermission. And at the intermission, I walked out to get a soda, and I had a seizure, and I hit the floor so hard, I fractured my skull, broke the bones in my right inner ear, had life-saving brain surgery, and against all odds, I had this miraculous recovery. And when I came to in intensive care, I was on anti-epilepsy medication. And that is when I found out I had epilepsy. And then not long after that, I heard about a school at a community college that would teach students with disabilities to be COBOL programmers. And someone called me and just asked me if I would go help them learn how to interview, because what I did at that time, I was in executive search, so I was in employment. So off I go to the school to try to teach them how to interview, how to write a resume. And then I find out no one can even get an interview. That the employment rate was so horrific that I did volunteer work for 9 years. And at the end of 9 years, I said, that's it. I'm starting my own company, which was 26 years ago, 1995.
Time ago.
Yeah, and now we are a national company, and I speak around the world as an expert on the employment of people with disabilities. So the State Department, the US State Department, has had me go to Japan, India, South Korea, and other countries to speak to everyone employing people with disabilities. But that's what caused me to start the company.
So like when you were interviewing or helping these kids learn how to do interviews and resumes, that also kind of helped create the Bender Leadership Academy as well, right?
Yes.
And that's an amazing program. I don't think this conversation would even be happening had I not joined that program. What is it? 5 years ago now.
Wow. Well, I want to commend you, Caitlin, for not only keeping in touch with us, but for what you are doing right now. And Scott, in the future, if we have a summer internship, you need to call Caitlin.
I'm on my way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
because
also when you mentioned, I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
You mentioned that you've had all these amazing experiences talking about disability rights. You also got to speak for the president, I believe, sometime in the late 90s. I don't remember which president you brought that up as well.
Yeah, in 1999, I received the President's Award at the White House from President Clinton.
That's amazing.
Yeah, then later, I received an award from the Bush administration, and I have worked a lot with the Obama administration.
I know President Biden actually kind of has he's supportive of the disability community, so I actually would not be very surprised if you ended up being invited to speak with him sometime in the near future when the coronavirus lets up. That would be really cool.
Yes. He has a disability. He has a stutter. Yeah.
And many people misdiagnose it and they bully him for having dementia, which is horrible.
I know.
They're like, he's not fit to be president because he's old and forgetful. And it's like, he has a stutter and you're making fun of him for that. That's not right.
It's not right. No.
It's like, regardless of your opinions on him, he's still like a person and you really shouldn't hit below the belt like that. But some people are just willing to do that, and it's just not really great, honestly. And that's one of the things that we fight for, all three of us, is we fight for people to have rights and to end the disability stigma.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Because one of my sayings is disability rights are civil rights.
Exactly. they're important. Like, we're people too.
Yes.
Just because we may not be able to do something at the extent that a neurotypical or an able-bodied person could do doesn't mean we're any less. You got to speak with the president. I was the Sam Miller Award recipient and got to speak at Disability Mentor Day. Like, the options are limitless for people with disabilities and people that are able-bodied. It's equal.
That's right. That is so true. And you are a shining star. Don't you think, Scott?
Totally agree. And Joyce mentioned before, and I totally agree with this, is you've always kept in touch with us, and you stayed in touch, and that not everybody does that, and so kudos to you on that too.
I definitely tried to. The Bender Leadership Academy and the Bender name has been really important to me, and it has also helped a lot of different people. Without this company, I would not be able to public speak as well as I could. I would not be able to have the experiences of going to Pittsburgh and performing a speech in front of various CEOs. I would not have been able to be on Disability Matters, which is an amazing talk show, by the way. I highly recommend everyone watching this to go watch that, because it is also captioned in real time, which is super amazing to me. But I've had a lot of opportunities, so just ghosting you guys entirely, I just feel would be very wrong.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Scott? Later in the year, like in maybe October, because that's the month of Disability Mentoring Day, we should have Caitlin and maybe Brianna and one other person on the radio show.
That would be very fun. I would highly promote that.
Do you know her? Do you know her? You have her email and phone number, Scott?
I have Caitlin's, yeah.
Okay, because you know Mike Labriola would love that.
We also all have each other on Facebook, so if you ever need to reach me, I'm always on there.
Okay, and Caitlin,
Yeah.
did you know that my podcast is now heard in 17 countries?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so you'll really be heard all around the world.
So it's also real-time captioned in different languages as well?
Yeah, you need to send. No, what happens is the countries that it goes to, such as the embassies, they translate it.
Wow. That's insane.
So, you know, I really want you to keep in touch with, and Scott, I really want you to keep in touch with Caitlin.
Yeah, I was to say. Oh,
Go
sorry, Joyce. I was to say, Caitlin, the Disability Mentoring Day reception is going to be in October. More likely, it's going to be virtual. Not 100% sure yet, but I'm going to make sure that you're invited to that as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'll definitely make sure to have a good speech, and definitely make sure my phone doesn't die like it did at the 2017 DMD, because that rattled me so hard, but I still persevered. At least I managed to get through it. That actually
you know what, Caitlin, there is, don't forget, whatever you do not forget to take that slaughter stigma pledge. Once again, benderleadershipacademy.org.
That is definitely noted.
Yeah.
Whenever I mentioned, sorry.
No, that's it. I'll just send you the link to it as well. Make it easier for you.
Thank you. On the topic of like great moments, like talking to the president, talking Disability Mentor Day, Disability Matters, there's a lot of pivotal moments, very important moments that kind of define, this is what I want to do in all of our experiences. Have you guys ever had that one shining moment that sticks out that made you think, this is why I do what I do for a living?
I would say, for me, it's when two things. One is when I first found someone with a disability employment, even before I started my company, and I saw how it changed the person's life, and that this person could do the job just as everyone with a disability can do the job if they are given the opportunity. And then, of course, once I founded Bender Consulting Services, even though I only had a few employees, that was it. That was when I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And then as far as the Bender Leadership Academy, it's when I spoke to a class in Delaware. And when I said, oh, has anyone ever been bullied? The entire class raised their hand. And then they told me stories. And I said, you know what? That's it. I'm going to help them. And I did volunteer work everywhere I spoke. I did that as a volunteer for 20 years. And then 2 years ago, we founded Bender Leadership Academy so that we could reach more high school students with disabilities. So that would be my answer. What about you, Scott?
Well, I think for when I worked with Bender Consulting and I was a team lead of talent programs, Caitlin, one of my favorite things I got to do is extend offers to people. And a lot of times it was their first time job or they've been looking for full-time employment for 4 or 5 years, and just the excitement, the relief, that they were so excited about getting that job and that opportunity, and change their life for the better. And a lot of the times I was the person who helped recruit them or find them, and just watching them get that job and then move up within their careers is just an incredible feeling. So that's definitely for Bender Consulting and Bender Leadership. One of the greatest days when they asked me to take over and run the programs and the partnerships with that, and just you know, every class is that I get to participate in for student leaders, and just watching them grow and and blossom as these classes progress is just an incredible feeling.
Yeah, honestly, I bet that whole experience, like helping those people find those jobs, the smiles on their faces, the exhilaration they're feeling, I bet that was amazing.
Well, yes, laughter, crying, just and just being thankful. It was incredible.
Yeah, and then also, Joyce, you mentioned the Delaware class when you asked them if any of them had been bullied, and all of them raised their hands. I remember when I was in the Beaver class for a couple of years, and then we switched programs for some reason. Why, I'll never know. But we were asked the same question. I think if maybe a couple of us didn't. I don't remember if I raised my hand. I feel
You
like
did.
I probably.
You
I was
did
gonna say
also.
I probably did. I
Mhm.
don't remember what for, but yeah, no, the people in that class, like, they were all bullied, and I
Yes,
remember also
same thing.
they grew
Same thing.
significantly too. There was a girl my junior year. The first speech you ever had us do, you had us do like 3 different speeches. There was the first introductory speech where you would ask us what we would do to take initiative, or if you were a returning leader, like I was my junior year, you asked us how we would help in the Bender Leadership Academy class as leaders. I remember this one girl, she was awesome, by the way. Her very first speech, she froze and started freaking out. But after she did it, like the second time she got a retrial, she was a rock star.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes,
I
I
wasn't
do
sure if I
remember.
was even allowed to bring up her name, so I just let it
Yeah,
go.
but I don't know, but I
She's
remember
awesome.
that. Yes, I do.
I also remember another kid from that same school. He would always end his speech with his little dab at the end. He was so funny.
Yeah, yeah.
That was Josh. He's friends with my friend Connor from
Mhm.
Blackhawk, and I still see they hang out all the time. I ended up losing contact with Josh, unfortunately. I don't remember what happened, but yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while. But I still talk to everyone from Freedom. I still talk to Olivia. I still talk to Gwen. I've made
Oh,
a
that's
lot
good.
of
Hey,
I've made a lot of powerful friendships. I also still talk to Jay as well.
wow.
He is
You
a
know what,
very entertaining person to talk to.
yeah, Caitlin, you have to make all of those people take that slaughter stigma pledge.
Absolutely, I'll send it their way. And
Mm.
also, I want to ask, is there still are you still looking for people to join the Bender Lead On team?
Yes,
I should
all the
plug that. I
time.
definitely should promote that. We are a team currently on Facebook. I know there's an application on the Bender website, but there's also a Facebook group page where we'll post random things about
Yeah,
disability activism and stuff.
yeah.
And I'm in there, Joyce is in there, Scott is in there, the chairman, Gerald, is in there as well. He's awesome. I always remember when he would play, like, he would play the sax at Disability Mentor Day, and I was so thrown off in a good way. He was so talented. And it's just, there's so many awesome, talented individuals in there. Highly recommend joining. We're always looking for new members to spread our word.
Well, you know what? I just can't tell you how highly I think of you, Caitlin. And I want you to keep in touch with Scott. You're in charge of keeping in touch with Caitlin. And
Absolutely. I'm on it.
And I have to go to a call, Caitlin, but
Okay.
this was the highlight of my day.
Yeah, this was amazing. And I am so thankful that I was able to reach out to you because I was worried I wouldn't get to everyone in time. And when I started this program for school, because she wanted us to do something we were passionate about. Some kids chose anxiety, some kids chose eco living. And I was like, this is perfect for my platform. I could do this and help spread the word of my story as well as other stories, because your story is amazing and Scott's story is amazing. And I feel that everyone needs to hear it. And I'm glad that you guys responded, because I just feel that you guys have done so much for me and I feel like I should return the favor, you know?
Well, you know, you will be part of the Bender family forever. So, okay, take that pledge, tell everyone else to, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Everybody remember that is benderleadershipacademy.org. And also, if you have a Facebook, definitely look up the Bender Lead On team as well. We are always looking for new members.
Yeah,
And
bro. Yeah, you're
absolutely.
awesome. Good job. All right,
Right.
I'll see you, Caitlin.
Stay golden, everybody.
Bye-bye.